How you doing? It's John, your regular EV dad, and today it's just me. No co-pilot. In fact, we're going to talk about the co-pilot, where she is, and how I'm going to go get her. Now, I was just going to record this at home in my office and do a screen share and stuff like that, but uh, today is the first day of dry weather we've had here in Northern California. We've been having quite a good amount of rain, I'm sure you're aware. And if it looks like I've been in and out of Home Depot all day getting supplies, that would be accurate. But I have to run up to Castro Valley and drop off a check, old school. And that was the time I was going to do the video. So we're going to do it this way. I'm driving the e-tron, which you haven't seen that much content about for one reason or another. And this weekend, the plan was to fix that. So let me bring you up to speed. So my wonderful wife left the house shortly after 5 a.m. It's Friday. Yeah. Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure anymore. And the kids are a little under the weather, but they are heading up to see some friends up near Seattle in Puyallup. And they took our van because they got a couple of dogs with them. The plan was, because it's MLK weekend, the plan was for me to drive up on Sunday. I need a day of just clear my head driving. I love driving long distance alone. I can just be at one with my own head and thoughts and get a lot of thinking done. And I was going to take the e-tron, which is a proven long distance cruiser. I mean, it's just what it does well. A trip all the way from Atlanta home via Texas, via Austin, just proved that. And then it drove it straight up to, I think it was Portland. Just great. However, and it would have been good content. And Joe and I, if you see the podcast, please go look at the podcast. We're talking about, he's just taking ownership of a Tesla Model 3 standard range. And we're talking about the network. And we've, had a few bugs and glitches with EA recently. And I-5 is a critical corridor. Now, normally when I talk about I-5, we're talking about heading south down towards LA, towards Los Angeles. But this obviously is going north. And we have all this bad weather, all these storms. And there are some, with EA, with Electrify America, you can't miss many spots. You can't miss many charges. You can't skip a charger too often. And, and they're about every 80 to 100 miles, which is fine. But it's going to be cold. That has an effect on the battery. The average temperature to when I do this drive is going to be around 45, which is fine. It's not an issue. I'd rather do it in this than in the ID4 because this has got four-wheel drive, and I do have snow socks for this if required. But the first place I would have to charge, well, I have choices. But where I would most likely charge first is at Willows. And I'm going to try and put it into the map. And if you see the kilowatts TikTok and YouTube channel, that site has been not good. 4 chargers, 8 handles, one of them shadow mode. But out of 7 handles, only 1 has been working consistently. Delivering 136. The rest are in limp mode and delivering just 36 kilowatts. Only one other one is. when you're doing a rip and run, that's a problem. And the only other choices is a 50 kilowatt EV Go, couple of chargers at all that, which, to be fair, they might be slow, but they are reliable. So I've been thinking about that, and I was looking at, what other infrastructure has come online since I last did the trip. I took the ID4 all the way up to, well, actually beyond Seattle. I took it all the way up to Squib, I think was its name. And, there's now some faster EV Goes, the Ultium Ready ones, which I have some experience with. And I thought, well, this might make it interesting, but they don't become available until you get north of Portland. So I don't want to be relying on the EVCS 50 kilowatt chargers. So this was just in my mind. Now, the irony is, my wife's car is cleaner now than it has been for a while. And I was going to travel up without the car seat because the kids got a car seat already. So the plan is, let me be clear about this, drive up Sunday, come back Monday. So it's 14 to 16 hours of driving, 2 days straight. Nearly 1,700 miles. And I thought, well, if the car's empty, I could sleep in it. I could camp. And I have a feeling that this is a car that could actually do that better than the ID4, because you don't have to sit in the seat to keep it on. You can just leave the good old-fashioned ignition button on. But it's not all that efficient. So I'm thinking about this and one thing and another. And I went, I'll have a look on Turo. Let's see if there's a Tesla on Turo that makes sense. Now, the reason I say this is because the way I got into all this lunacy, I know I've mentioned it before, but I rented a Model 3 long range on Turo and drove it all the way to Wyoming and back, 3,000 miles in 3 days. And back during the height of COVID. I always felt bad about that with the guy. And interestingly, he rented my ID4 on Turo. Well, I went to Hertz. And for whatever reason, Hertz are renting out right now a Model Y Performance for $65 a day. The full rental for 3 days is $265, including all taxes and fees. I don't mind putting 1,800 miles on someone else on a Hertz vehicle. I really don't. I can live with myself for that situation. And that gives me access to the Tesla network. Now, that's a good thing in terms of the size of it, the scale of it. I mean, I'm looking at what they've installed, like in Shasta. I remember when Shasta had 4 chargers. Now, on the other side of that lot, essentially, they've put another 16 chargers in, all 250 kilowatts. It is a holiday weekend, which is a bad time to run a Tesla, because lots of Teslas go for a run, and they have lines and da-da-da. But I'm thinking that with this bad weather, and it is bad weather, not many people are going to road trip north. That is my thinking. So my current plan, we have some 3 week, 2.5 week old puppies. Their eyes opened a few days ago. So my plan is I'm sharing puppy watching duties with my friend Neil. My plan currently, and I would welcome your advice. Put them in the comments. This isn't bait for comments. This is a serious thing. My current plan is Neil works a shift at FedEx, so he gets back. He can get back to my place at 10 o'clock at night. My thinking is, I leave San Jose as soon as he gets in, and I drive as far as I can with the intention that I will make it to Reading sometime around 1 a.m., where I will plug in at the Supercharger there and charge to 100%. And then I'll camp in the car. I won't. All I'm going to have is a small soft bag, put a sleeping bag in, a couple of pillows. I think we can make this work. Maybe put 2 sleeping bags in. I know, crazy, huh? And use one as a mattress just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And sleep in the car not plugged into the suit. I'll charge up, then go to sleep. And disconnect. It's a 24/7 car park. It's got a bathroom, and then I'll charge up, and we have bad traffic and police ahead, so I'm just being cautious. And then I'm be interested to see how much energy camping costs. It's going to be cold. It's going to get down below 30. I like to sleep in a nice toasty 67. So we'll see what energy that effect that has. And then with fresh coffee and breakfast inside me and 6 hours of sleep, which is what I need to be a functional human being. I will start heading north again, and that way I will get into P Wallop at a more reasonable hour. Because again, all I'm going to do is have dinner with the fam, make sure the car is charged up to at least 90%. So much debris on the roads is causing problems from crap that's washed down off the shoulders. And we love the torque of this thing. Just keep it in sport mode. It doesn't actually use any more energy. It just gives you access to all of the power. And when you use it, this thing is, like I said, it's a 6,000 pound ballet shoe. And then that gives me the opportunity, because then in the 5:30 the next morning, myself and the kiddo are in the car with her probably plugged into her iPad and heading back. And we've got it. There's no camping. It's just going to be rip and run the whole way. So I would welcome your thoughts on this. I think I think this gives me the best chance. It allows me to travel when the roads are quietest, get out of the Bay Area at night. I believe that might also make some of the charging cheaper. One of the things I have noticed, because I don't pay a huge amount of attention to Tesla, is that the cost of supercharging has gone up. I know it's come down a little bit recently, but they are now encouraging people to not travel at peak, and so they have this variable pricing. I also understand some of these chargers, you know, when they get high demand, if you go above 80% charge, then you pay more, or even you can't. So that's partly my mind, but just basically, I'm making this trip in a Tesla because I don't have complete confidence in the Electrify America network, and also the amount of network may not be sufficient for a holiday weekend. And I can't afford to screw this up because the kids at the other end, and then when we're on our way back, you know, we're coming through those pretty big mountain passes, Grants Pass, and the like, and can't afford to screw up. So, those are my thoughts. I'd love to know yours. Use the comments, and understand that I will be recording this trip, and we'll see what happens. Be safe.